as we're going to zoom in for Indiana at Oregon. This one ended 30-20. The Hoosiers get a massive win on the road. They make it 2 in a row when they visit Eugene now, and even out the series between the two to 2-2. This is an interesting game, I would say. I did not expect Indiana to win by multiple possessions. I thought if they did, it would be 3 points. Ended up being 10. And Oregon's offense just got turned upside down completely in this one. The big question that we talked about going into this game, is Indiana ready to take the next step to be a top tier program in the Big Ten? And I think they answered that with a big old yes, more or less a big old W in the win column, as this is their first top 5 win since 1988, and it's their first ever top 5 win on the road, which is pretty interesting, as I think they also crush an Oregon home winning streak that goes back a couple seasons now. But yep, Indiana is for real. Their defense got the job done here, and we see Isaiah Jones there on the screen, who had the nail in the coffin interception. We talked about him towards the end of our preview. We have actually talked about him quite a bit this season. Also in the preview for the game against Illinois. This guy literally down the pecking order in that linebacker room, but comes in clutch quite a bit for the Hoosiers, especially in these big games that they have been playing in. But you guys, the defense is pretty legit, I would say, for Indiana, as Oregon's defense, I don't want to say got torn apart. They just got exploited by this young man here on the screen, Elijah Sherrod. We should have talked about him a little bit more in the preview, as he's truly one of the best receivers in the whole nation. He's going to go off that wide receiver board probably as, I don't want to say number 1, but definitely 2 or 3 for sure. He's just a great utility. He had 8 receptions for 121 yards, 15.1 per reception, with a nice touchdown there as well. He's just a great outlet for Fernando Mendoza, and complements that running game, who had an all right game. 111 yards on the ground. Roman Hemby, the transfer from Maryland, had 19 carries for 70 yards, 3.7 per carry. But the big thing, punching it in the red zone for Indiana twice for 2 touchdowns. Fernando Mendoza had an all right game. Unfortunately, threw a pick 6 to tie this one up 20-20. And again, Oregon's defense, that's why we talked about them being pretty legit, scoring points there. But for Fernando Mendoza, he went 20 for 31, 215 yards, 6.9 per throw. So that's not the best, but kind of what you expect against a very, again, good Duck defense. And then 1 passing touchdown. But it's a little bit of a flip there on the other side of the ball in terms of the Oregon offense. Dante Moore having his worst game as the starting quarterback for the Ducks. He went 21 for 34, 186 yards passing, 5.5 per completion. That's just not himself for sure. And then on top of that, 2 interceptions. We talked about this game coming down to mistakes, and those were the mistakes clearly that didn't allow Oregon to get the job done. And on top of that, they really didn't finish drives. I think they had 2 field goal drives, 1 8-play. I think the other one was 12. They scored a touchdown there. This game is a hell of a lot more interesting, I would say. Moore also threw a touchdown pass to Malik Benson. That was the, I believe, first touchdown in this game. Started off 7-3, and then the offenses really didn't warm up until the second half. The locker room adjustments looks like it paid off more for Indiana. versus their opponents, who technically only scored a touchdown in that second half on defense. So yeah, the offense really, really struggles for the Ducks. And that's one thing you'll see here, and why. The run game, only 81 yards for Oregon, again on the ground. They average only 2.7 yards per carry. That is just not going to be good enough to allow this offense to really gel and get things going. We talked about that again in our preview about this Indiana defense being legit, and we did mention as well, they played Old Dominion. A lot of people maybe not think that that would be kind of a good prep game to play against Oregon, but when you run similar type of offenses, it's not completely apples to apples. But when you kind of get those similar, I would say, pre-snap motions, formations, plays that would maybe are in different formations but are basically the same play, that helps you prepare yourself later down the line. And I guess that Old Dominion game really helped out Indiana in getting the dub here. And yeah, that was the big thing. Indiana's defense. They help make a lot of mistakes for that Oregon offense. It was kind of interesting as well. They had an injury in D'Angelo Pons, who actually played in this game, and he was questionable going into it. But it looks like, Pharrell, Lewis Moore, they transferred from Ole Miss, got himself an interception. He also helped out with a lot of tackle assists in this game. But the big thing was getting after Dante Moore in that pocket. 6 total sacks. You got 1.5 from Fisher, 1 from Hardy, 1 from Isaiah Jones, who also got an interception. Ladino, who also came up big against Illinois earlier in the year. And then Keelan Wyatt, he had a sack and a half. We also talked about him at the end of our preview and possibly being a difference. And who did not make a difference in this game? Well, Mateo Uiagalelei and Tetium Tuioti. Those two guys, totally night and day from the game against Penn State. Came up big against Nittany Lions, fall far short here against Indiana. Is that we thought those guys would have been playing a big difference. But yeah, the edge was not set for Oregon with them. Again, a big game for the Hoosiers. I think this is kind of punching their ticket maybe to that Big Ten championship game, possibly against Ohio State in a somewhat of a rematch. Obviously, it came up short there in Columbus last season. With this team, should be a hell of a lot closer. And Kirk Cignetti getting another big win for himself there, and his first, I believe, top 25 win as the Indiana head coach. Yep, don't forget to Google him, guys. This guy, pretty legit, I would say. But yep,